Everyone's seeing the now and they think like, oh, you have a background in painting. I'm like, absolutely not. I knew zero about painting. In fact, it was probably one of the hardest business I've ever done, which is wild to me. One thing I've always been taught by my mentor is there's certain skill sets that people don't know.
Yeah.
And I think you can develop really good skill sets, effective listening, seek first to understand, then be understood. That's something that we lack in communication as humans.
Yeah.
My coaching program is called Contractor Excellence, and it's open to all contractors. I get more enjoyment when they tell me, hey, I stopped smoking cigarettes. I stopped drinking.
Yeah.
That's what's changing your business. You made these conscious decisions.
Yeah.
That brings me more fulfillment. That is a product of you changing, right? And that's the product of mentorship.
I have one question that I like to ask everybody, and that's if you were walking down the street and you ran into your 17-year-old self, what advice would you give that kid?
Well, I got the chills saying that.
Mr. Joel Mercado, he is service business expert. He helps people scale their businesses to 7 figures plus. More importantly, though, like this is caveat. This is what I think sets you apart from a lot of people out there. You hone in or go heavy, right, on the mindset portion of things. I mean, you are a hypnotherapist. You do practice NLP and bring all those different facets of expertise into the coaching that you're now doing with people who launch businesses, right? So
100%.
So I mean, there's so many layers, bro. It's the first time we meet in person. We've talked before, and we've had people in common that oh, you gotta meet this guy and sit down and have a chat. Big shout out to Bree.
Yeah.
And finally we get to do it, right? So I'm excited. My first business was in the service-based industry. I had a transportation business, which kind of links into the logistics of everything. So systems, processes, the nuts and bolts are a whole different thing. But when you add the mindset portion of it, I mean, I think you really have a full picture of what something can be. So walk me through the process. I mean, you started with a painting business, right? Mm-hmm. And then how did you go from, hey, listen, I want to set up shop and go to town on this to now being in multiple masterminds. I mean, interacting and being out there on podcasts and some of the big players out there as well. So how does that evolution happen?
Yeah, so it's a great question. It's everyone's seeing the now and they think like, oh, you have a background in painting. I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I knew zero about painting. In fact, it was probably one of the hardest business I've ever done, which is wild to me. Now I say it's the easiest, but it all started 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I had to move. I'm from a small town called Quakertown, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And I always like to start in the origins because there's always a reason why we're doing what we're doing today based off of what happened in the past. And I think a lot of people forget that, right? So like I had to change my environment. So I moved from Pennsylvania out here to Arizona when I was 20 years old. And my brother's 8 years older than me. So he was like, hey, come on out here. We come from a small town mindset, right? And I'm like, gosh, I see the same people at the same bars, same stories, talking about their past. I was like, I don't want to be that guy, right?
Yeah, I hear that.
No shade to that, but I just started recognizing patterns at a young age. So I got into the industry, actually was in the service industry, was after the fact. So I was actually in the gym industry. So I started doing pre-sales and I was super shy. Like I couldn't even order a pizza. Like that's how shy I was. And my brother, I just remember my sales days, my brother put me in a room with a bunch of salespeople in a trailer. It's just straight dirt. There's no building. And he's like, you need to sell memberships. And I'm like on the phone, like shaking.
No AC.
Yeah. It like freaked me out, but he broke me out of those habits, right? Like he was just like, yeah, gotta get good at this, man. So I really started getting into the gym industry and started learning people are looking for goals and how do they get to their goals. And I always kept saying, what's a mindset?
Yeah.
Right. So, fast forward, starting from the gym industry, I started working for other businesses. Always had a leadership role of sorts. So I became a general manager, then a district manager. Then I started liking creating SOPs and stuff like that. But again, the training was always mindset. I kept going back to mindset. I'm like, well, how do we change these habits? Well, mindset. So fast forward, I found a mentor about 13 years ago. And my mentor, he owned a bunch of painting companies. And then I met my wife. I actually met him through my wife. And when he told me he opened up multiple businesses in the chiropractic world, I was like, do you know much about chiropractic? He's like, no, but I know people.
Yeah.
And I was like, interesting. What does that mean? Like, I need to know what you know, right?
Yeah.
And I see this guy, he's like in a surfing outfit and he's like really wealthy. And I'm like, is that what that looks like? Because growing up Hispanic in a small town, it was always like suit, tie. And I'm like, is that what wealth looks like now?
Yeah.
Right? So like, it just really changed my world when I started really hearing the things he was going through and doing what he did and the opportunities in the service-based business. And for me, he said, I'm bringing sexy back. He's like, there's nothing sexy about painting, but I'm going to bring it back. That was years ago, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you know, I am seeing that in the trades where a lot of people are like, well, they look kind of at the trades as a down thing. Like, oh, why are you doing the trades? That's not fun. That's not looking good, right?
Brother, it makes the most sense in the world. It's I mean, think about long, lasting industries out there, right? It's a need. It's not a luxury. I mean, it's not, for example, I don't know, travel for, let's put that out there, right? People are always going to travel and take vacations, but when things, gets, scrappy, it's like, oh, cool, we're not going to travel. Like, you're not going to cut out plumbing or electricity. You're going to cut travel. So trades and services, I mean, it's always made sense.
Yes, and it's going to continue, right? The thing that I noticed, what we ended up niching down was, we saw commonality, right? Because when my mentor said, I was like, hey, why are you able to get so successful so quick in the trades? And he's like, it's the process, it's the system, it's the people. And I started seeing that. I was like, man, there's such a niche for us to help other people that are struggling. They may be great as a tradesperson, right? But they just don't know business.
Right.
And again, it's just mindset. It's the belief system that I can do it. And then I find a lot of enjoyment with people seeing that they can change their life based off of changing their mind. That's just what I believe. So,
well, it is a catalyst. I mean, you go back to thought. You go back to how people process, right? And we have biases, from origin, right? Like from wherever we start off. And I come from a small town too. Grew up in a mobile home. I don't come from a wealthy family, and so my context of money, my idea of money was like, hey, listen, if you're banking $30K a year, you're solid. And so I grew up with that. So breaking, for example, that paradigm was a thing, right? And I knew trades. I worked construction growing up. I worked, I did framing, I did concrete, masonry, and all kinds. So in my head, it was like, oh no, you got to put in an hour in for $1 out. There's no way around that. And breaking that paradigm was a big thing. But it comes back to it, right? And I feel like a lot of the times people want that. They want to reach that goal. They want to achieve that. I want to launch my business. I want to have my own thing. But there can be a veil that stops people in their tracks, and that is absolutely linked to the mindset.
100%. And those are, and especially learning what you know now. And I'm sure you and I can get in a deep topic on this. But it's like I used to train fighters too, and I've done a lot of things in my life.
Nice.
So everybody's like, dude, you've done a lot. I'm like, I was searching for identity. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But
throw spaghetti on the wall. Let's see what it sticks. Same way, bro. Same way.
We'll figure it out, right? So
I was gonna do male stripping one time. My wife didn't like it. So I was like,
okay. I didn't think about that at all, but good for you, man. So
not really. Estoy jugando, mija.
Yeah, you're like, you got to edit that part, right? But so I started learning these things, and I was like, man, like, when I started thinking about the fighters, it was like interrupting the pattern, their thought process and stuff like that. I'm like, it's not any different than business or anything else, right? So I started obsessing over why do we do what we do? Because the faster we can help people get through that, the faster they can see the results, right?
Right.
And so, we're a product of our environment, no different than our parents. And it's a generational thought process of what they were taught. And then they teach what they were taught to us, and then we buy into that belief system. So what if, like you keep saying, it's a paradigm shift, and I love that because, all it is as simple as seeing the lens differently, right?
Yeah.
And it takes people like us to just show them, hey, you can do this, and this is how you do it.
Yeah.
Right? And it just shifts somebody's thought process, and they're like, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Or I didn't believe that until you said something, and I can see that now. So it's interesting.
It's funny you bringing that up, man. I literally had a session earlier on another podcast, Mindset Monday series. It's another series that we record, and we were talking about the difference between thoughts and thinking. right? A thought is pure. A thought is comes from, it's either a download or it's subconscious kicking in. There's no, a thought is authentic, right? And then we corrupt it right away. Right away, we corrupt it with thinking.
Yes.
And the thinking is the thing that we can control. We can decide whether to think positive about something or if our thinking is going to be negative, right?
Yes.
And I feel like that you can only get to a space like that through awareness. If you don't understand that you can shift your thinking, right? That you can see it from a different lens, that you can, hey, listen, this is what I'm doing. This is my reaction to this. I can be proactive and then see it from a different angle. It's really hard to change things, right? But once you have that power in your pocket, you know that you can just reach in there and it's like, all right, cool. This is it's this type of limitation, this type of scenario, this, whatever. I'm gonna see it from a different light and be proactive about the positivity.
Yes.
And that's a huge, I feel, shift, right? When somebody adopts that way of empowered thinking, I guess.
Yes. I love that. Have you ever heard of Jim Quick?
Jim Quick. Oh yeah, I've seen his stuff. Yeah.
Okay, good. So he talks about ants, which is automatic negative thoughts. So like naturally, we're gonna just have a natural negative thought because that's a program that's behind in our mind that we don't realize is running, right?
Yeah.
And I love his concept on that, and I teach that a lot. Is that what are you consuming, right? Is it the music that you're listening to? Are you listening to positive podcasts, right? Like,
right.
What is that constant story that's being told to you that you're buying into? You don't even realize subconsciously because you're really programming your mind. And what I like to teach my clients is like your brain is like a computer, right? And what happens when you have a computer, you have a bunch of window tabs open. And I try to simplify it and have them visualize it. They're like, well, it bogs down, right? I'm like, what do you think your brain does?
Yeah.
I try to simplify your process. I try to simplify your thoughts so we can delete that chaos that's in your mind. Because, like when you get into a business, you're getting things thrown at you left and right. I'm the sales guy. I'm the one that does production. I'm the one that does the marketing. I'm the one that's on the phone. And I'm too busy and I can't do this and I'm too scared.
Wear all the hats. Yeah.
Yes. And when someone comes in and says, well, why don't we simplify that for you? And we can draw the roadmap, then it goes, oh,
yeah.
I didn't think it was that easy. I know you didn't have time to think.
Yeah.
You're like
exactly.
so much in your head, right?
There's no intentional, thinking happening.
Yes.
Isn't it wild though?
It is
Isn't that
wild.
crazy that we just go off of really, okay, what life is throwing at us on a daily basis as opposed to slowing down a little bit. I mean, at this point I have a morning routine that I stick to very firmly.
Yes.
And it's me just throwing my, spilling my guts on paper, doing, journaling, right?
Yep.
If I can't journal, I will sit down and I'll do something else. For example, I'll sit down in silence, I'll sit down in prayer, but it's my space, right? To give myself a gap for whatever is not just pressuring or heating up the pressure cooker, right?
Yeah.
We gotta have those moments of respite intentionally, man. It's insane if you don't do it. If you don't take, it's wild. We'll think about systems, processes. We'll think about next year's P&L. We'll think about everything, but we don't think about the stuff that impacts us as leaders.
100%.
Yeah. Well, at least it's not the common, right? Like it's not the common route. Like it's something has to happen. For me, it was burnout. I literally got burned out when I was 26. And dude, I mean, I had to do something to snap out of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing was, all right, I'm gonna learn about myself. I'm gonna learn about how I'm thinking about things, and then got big into mindset, and that was the shift, right? But something had to come in and break my pattern, my day-to-day pattern, where it's just going heavy every single day, day in, day out, and just like going after the dollar, but there was no purpose, there was no bigger drive to it. You know what I mean? It just became a rat race, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you say that because one thing that I teach in the leadership side of things, I call one of my groups the MVP group, and I say you should be the MVP of self, right? And it's called the Maven program. So Maven really means like expert of self, essentially. And so I created a principle-centered coaching call for that, specific for mindset. So what I did was I started telling everybody, I'm like, hey, what's a good acronym that you're going to remember? So, and I hope your viewers and listeners take something from this, because if you feel like you have a purpose, but you don't know what it's identified yet, notice how you said, be intentional about it.
Right.
it took me a while to go, okay, what are my principles, right? So then with the Maven program, like N means non-negotiables. So I had to write up a bunch of non-negotiables. That's my compass. It's what tells me I'm making the right decisions, no matter even if it's a hard decision or the right decision. At the end of the day, they broke a principle that I cannot live with. So it's like my guide, right?
Yeah.
So I always tell everybody, once you write down your principles and create those in your business, it allows you to make better decisions for self, your employees, your customers. So E means excellence for me. I'm a man of God, so I do believe like God's within us. Well, then we're very godlike, aren't we?
Yeah.
So if we don't believe we're excellence, then we're not operating in an excellence world, an excellence mindset. So that means we treat our bodies, we treat our minds less.
I love
than.
that connection, by the way.
Yeah, it's I truly believe it, right? And when I started connecting that more, that's when things started shifting for me. And then V means vision. So you got to visualize, right? We're really big about visuals. What do you see? How do you see it, right? A means action. So then you got to take action. You have to see it and then go start working towards it.
Yeah.
And then M means manifest for Maven. And you're manifesting all of that. So if you do every single one of those things, you're within alignment. That's how I created that. So I always tell everybody, hey, what's your business name? What's an acronym? Use your last name, use your business name, whatever it is. Create your principles so that every day, if something comes up that wants to take you away from your morning routine or your why or your purpose of sorts, you always remember that.
Yeah.
Right? It's something that you just go, okay, like, what are my principles? I set up, this is who I am.
Yeah.
Right? And you lead that way.
Yeah, I love that, man. I mean, and I hope you guys were taking notes on that because that was a little condensed mastermind or masterclass on.
I'll drop it all day. Let's do it.
on how to create purpose. Going into that side of things, right? When you're not taking or being proactive about the steps that you take to just clarify where you want to head, you don't. People, I feel like sometimes we'll start talking about purpose and lifelong purpose, right? And that, like, it can be a very heavy thing, especially if you haven't given it enough thought. Like now, for example, me sitting down and thinking about purpose, it's a real thing. But if you were talking to me, 15 years ago, purpose is like, man, my purpose is just to I don't know, go have a couple of beers with my buddies, the weekend,
make some money or something.
Exactly. So. I didn't have this, this direction, right, or clarity, I guess, personally, I want to say. I didn't have clarity over what I wanted to do, but I figured out where to start. So one day I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, it's like, man, I keep hearing about, purpose, and that's right around the time where I started reading a lot of books. I got, heavier into mindset and personal growth seminars and trainings, right? So all these things, all this information is coming at me. It's like, man, I got to simplify that. I like your approach. I was like, okay, what tells me whether I'm doing good or not? Yeah. Like whether or not I'm on the right path. It was like, I'm just going to look for joy. So I simplified it to the bare minimum. It's like, I'm just going to look for joy. I'm going to look for a smile. If I'm smiling more times throughout the day than I'm frowning, like it was a good day, right? So I had to really like dumbify it for myself, right? To get that. And guess what happened? Like one thing, okay, cool. I recognized a joyful day. Okay, what was I doing? All right, I was doing this, and that. I was doing coaching. I was doing mentoring. I was doing other stuff. I was like, man, I really enjoyed that portion of it. I should do more of that and less of the transaction coordination per se in my field, right? And so finding those little gaps of I feel like excellence in the stuff that you're doing day to day. Yes. I mean, it's huge, especially when you have a framework or a path, right, that you can come in and follow, and you're not going blind.
100%.
So
I try to, like, I love how you said too, the simplicity, right? Like, obviously you and I could probably really get in a deep conversation and probably lose some people, but when I simplify things as a coach, I try to keep frameworks very simple. I always teach people, hey, it's okay to have a bad moment. It's not okay to have a bad day. Yeah. And they go, what do you mean by that? It's like, well, you're human. You're going to have bad moments. Don't look at me. I'm not superhuman. I have bad moments all day long. But I catch myself very quickly. I redirect. I audit. I go, okay, how am I feeling? Is that a physical response? What is it that I'm doing? I'm very cautious about that. And that's why I got into this space, because I kept asking, why am I doing what I do, right? I would get in these sabotage circles and this cycle for years. And then when I started knowing how to self-correct, I was like, well, now that I can self-correct, I can help other people correct. Yeah. But until you figure it out yourself, it's going to be very difficult for you to lead people. And that's why I'm really big about that. I try to simplify things. I use acronyms, quotes.
Yeah.
I just used a quote in the other podcast that I was just on. I talk about this quote. I started going like this. I go, okay, one of my favorite things, and I probably just made it up on top of a quote that I heard, but I say, it's, if you strive to be 1% better each day, at the end of 100 days, you're 100% better.
Yeah.
And I've had someone like be like, well, technically that's not the right formula. I'm like, it's not about the formula, dude.
Dude, forget the math, homie.
Yeah. Like, I know that's not the real math, but the reality is I want your mindset to think, if I just do one thing each day in 100 days, look how far I've come than just sitting here and doing nothing. And then there's 365 days in a year. In my world, I look at it, you're 300x your return because you're just focused on one little step every day. Because people try to do everything all at once and they like paralyze, right?
And that goes a long way too. If you're just you're taking bite size, chunks of life. If you're just focusing 1% better. My John Crouch, my old jiu-jitsu coach, it's the same thing. Get 1% better every day. 1% better. I was like, all right, cool. Tomorrow I'm 1% better. In 100 days, I'm gonna be 100% better. That was my math too. But it pushes you, right? Like, okay, I don't have to know everything. I don't have to, just got 1%. Like if I went to bed, understanding that I moved the needle forward somehow, some way, and like I made forward progress. It's a big thing for entrepreneurs, and even if you're just getting started, right, and whatever your vertical is, right, know that you're gonna get hit with mindset issues. Know that you're gonna get hit with adversity. You're gonna get hit with challenges. It's having the nimbleness to navigate through those things, right? Holding on, I guess not holding on, but like really leaning on somebody who's already walked the path was a big game changer for me.
Yes. Who
Who was your first, I guess, mentor-like figure? From beginning, not from masterminds. And now, I wouldn't do life without masterminds. I swear by the masterminds that I'm part of, because they've made up an absolute change in seeing the way I see business, world connections. Prosperity, right? But at first, I feel like everybody comes across, somebody who's like, oh, okay, this person just kind of planted the seed, and
believe it or not, for me, it was Tony Robbins when I was a kid.
Oh, dude, OG, the OG,
and I still adopt his belief systems, and of course, like being a hypnotherapist and now looking into NLP more and other things that I do. I find more simplistic ways to explain that to my clients and other people that are in a room with me. But I realized something. I paid attention to him. I watched him my whole life. And I was just like, I want to be like him. How do I be like that guy? And when I started really learning what he was doing, I'm like, man, it's just simple as the way he speaks. Alone. I was like, dude, this is impactful. Just the personal affirmations and things like that. And I was like, man, well, if you can be positive in what you believe in and what you say and you're bringing it into your mind, what else can I do? So then I started getting into books, because I didn't start reading a book until 10 years ago. And now I'm like a book nerd. Like I read a book. If I could read a book every day, I would. Right. But I'm constantly consuming knowledge, and I'm just always on the level up. I'm like, how do I level up? How more? I want to learn more. And then my next guy, I would say, before I actually found an actual mentor on a physical sense, is Ed Milet. I love Ed Milet. I love his thought process. I love just everything he talks about, and just him as being a human being. So, it's interesting when I see people and they're like seeking mentors in the physical form. I'm like, you have mentorship all around you. You know what I mean? Like, what do you like? Go find it. And they're literally, especially nowadays, like back then, YouTube and stuff, like growing up when we were kids, like I didn't have any of that. You know what I mean? I was still doing mixtapes and CDs and doing stuff like that.
We didn't even have email.
That's what I'm saying. Like the AOL was like taking forever to do. And
you remember that?
Oh my gosh, 10 minutes later, you're like, what else can I do right now? But the way we have technology nowadays, and just as simple as this podcast right now, there's this one thing that one person can say that can change your life in that moment. And I look at all those guys as my mentors now, and obviously in the physical form, that's how I got into the home service base, is learning his processes, his systems, right? And then learning the application and becoming a painter and learning that side, and then seeing like how much I can impact my painters' lives, I was like, well, I'm coaching them too.
Yeah.
Right. So in the physical form, I've had a mentor for about 13 years who's my business partner now. And then, like you said, now I'm looking at masterminds and being in the right rooms with the right people. I just never realized, like, when you're in the right circle with the right people, how much more you just level up just by learning something new by them, or just the way they operate. You're like, I don't operate that way.
Yeah.
I need to.
Yeah, you get inspired, you get motivated, right? But I think it comes back to borrowing perspective from people who have, I don't know, they're 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of us. They don't have to have everything figured out, but they already figured out the next 3 steps that I want to take. It's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna sit down with you and like, if I'm doing something wrong, let me know. Let's just move together and move faster, right?
Yes.
One of the quotes is if you want to go fast, go alone, right? You're gonna move fast. So if you want to go far,
do it together.
Yeah, do it together. So it's very, very true. And I think when you have, the blessing of paying attention to somebody, or somebody planting the seed, right? Just the seed of growth in your path, man, that can flourish, right? It's either gonna, die because you didn't water it, or it's gonna, grow into something else.
Yeah.
I feel like my first influential, the first person that had me thinking, a little bigger, right?
Yeah.
Outside my context was my fire captain, one of my fire captains. I was 19 years old, and not that he took me under his wing and he just like showed me the ropes to life or anything. My mom was a single mom, so I didn't have a father figure to follow, right? And so I was like, all right, cool, I'm paying attention. This guy's like, what's he doing? He's doing like stocks. What are stocks? Like, so he's putting money into that, and then he's getting some cash back, and he's playing with that. Oh, that's interesting. All right, so I looked at stocks. Then he would, he had a book here, and then some growth stuff over there and whatever. But he was working on himself, not to a huge, like super advanced level, but just enough for me to get find the awareness of it. I was like, oh, cool. And then I found the book, and then I found something else, and one thing leads to the next, but it begins with that mindset. A lot of, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of us that go into service-based businesses, we're chasing the dollar, right? We know the trade.
Yes.
We know how to, like, for example, my transportation business was medical transportation, non-emergency.
Okay.
The reason I jumped into that was because I saw that model while I was a firefighter. So ambulance services. I was like, I'm gonna leave the fire department and then start my business.
Makes sense.
It made sense. Like segue, right?
Yeah.
You're breaking through barriers with your forehead per se, right? But you get to a point where you realize, man, like I can't talk to a lot of people about the issues that I'm having because they're my issues. They're it gets lonely sometimes if you don't have that that understanding of what's to be expected, but also that that support structure around you. So
yeah. I love that you say that though too, because at the end of the day, when someone starts a service-based business, if you go back to their why, either they didn't like who they were working for, because of the principles, right? They were treated poorly or whatever the case may be, and then they said, well, I know the trade, so I might as well open up the business myself and figure it out. Well, what about the processes? What about the systems? What about the leadership and growing and scaling? One thing we always teach is begin with the end in mind. So they're like, well, I never thought of the end. I don't know what that looks like.
What are you talking about?
They're like, what do you mean the end? I'm just going to do this till I retire. It's like, well, is that what you want? You want to be on the brush? You want to be on the ladder? You want to be whatever you're doing in the service base? Or do you want to grow a legacy? And, that's why I said these books are big, because I'm really big about John C. Maxwell. I always give him a shout out. Like, I love John C. Maxwell. I feel like he's changed my life just through his readings. And then Stephen Covey, right? The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's like, guys, you're getting all this data, decades of experience in a book.
Yeah.
And then when you actually take it and implement it and take action, look at the results you get, right?
Yeah.
So, that's something that I love to implement so that they can get out of their day-to-day thought process.
It's and you're absolutely right. Like, we have mentors all around. We just pay a little bit of attention. You don't have to like kick it off with a coach. You don't have to, do all that stuff, right?
Right.
And we are like you mentor. Like, we're coaches in our industries, but it doesn't have to start like that. I mean, pick up a book, pick up some point of reference that you can grow into. Pick up a podcast that you enjoy. And if you find a couple of pointers, a couple of seeds in there, water them, right? Like at the end of the day, if you have a shift in awareness, it's the beginning of something bigger.
Yes.
So what are some of the give me maybe perhaps the top 3 books that you would recommend to somebody?
Okay. I like that. That's my favorite.
Yeah. Well, it's the easiest way to spread around knowledge, right?
100%.
Yeah.
The first book I always recommend is 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership.
Love it.
And the reason why I do that is if you read one chapter a week,
Yeah.
you're almost halfway through the year and it's more digestible. You can audit yourself during that week, change whatever you read, like number 1, law of the lid.
Yeah.
Okay. How do I apply that in my life? Number 2, whatever that is, right? Like, and then live your life through that book. You've already created a better habit, and now you're getting into the reading side. So that's like my first, I always say that's the basics. Get that book, learn leadership, take action, grow your business.
John C. Maxwell.
The second one.
I met him through.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Recently, last mastermind I was in. But he spoke at a mastermind. He was hanging out with a super cool guy, man. He's like, the guy's an angel, dude. I seriously, like, you talk to the guy, he's like, he has that energy, that
you feel it,
charisma.
Yeah.
And he's older. He's an older guy, but dude, he has like so much presence on stage. Like he speaks, it just impacts throughout the, impact throughout the crowd. It's incredible. Anyway.
What a blessing, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Number 2, that was a tough one because number 2, I got a couple ones. I would say the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I know I keep mentioning the 2 books. That'd be my number 2 because, one thing I've always been taught by my mentor is there's certain skill sets that people don't know.
Yeah.
And I think you can develop really good skill sets in that book. And what do I mean by that? Like effective listening, seek first to understand, then be understood. That's something that we lack in communication as humans, right? So I think if you start to apply those 7 habits, sharpen the saw and like you start to adopt them, that book alone will increase your business as well as your life,
Yeah.
So I'm really big about that. And of course, I'm giving these books as business entrepreneur books or personal development. Again, I'm a man of God that would say the Bible first, right? But, for anyone that would just regular books, then, I would do that first, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Number 2, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And then number 3, Extreme Ownership from Jocko Willink.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love that book.
Yeah.
And the reason why I add that one as my 3rd book, it's because I feel like a lot of people make excuses for themselves and they blame everybody else.
Yeah.
And if you tie in all 3 of those books, it's such a good leadership base that, hey, you learned how to coach, you learned how to lead your people, you learned how to lead yourself, you learned how to like acquire a skill, and then now you're learning how to own it, right? Like, don't blame people, own it. Be extreme about how much you own all of the accountability. And those are a good 3 starts. That's how I feel.
I love, those are 3 excellent starting points. Even if you're already, on your way and you haven't read those, like pick up, they're really, really good principles. I mean, and on that 3rd one, Extreme Ownership. I mean, I rolled that right into, after I read that book, I rolled it into our principles. The business, I have 3 principles. I keep it simple again.
Yeah.
So the first one is radical transparency. My entire staff knows that, right? Like we're transparent, when we're dealing with people, when we're dealing with clients, when we're dealing with conversations internally, like transparency. It gets rid of headaches. It just be transparent, right?
Yeah.
The second one is extreme ownership.
Okay, good.
So that's the second one, right? Yeah. Like did you see it? Was there something that needed to be done? It was like, why didn't you own it? Well, it wasn't in my lane. Like, no, it's extreme ownership. Like we're a team here.
Yeah,
if you at least call it to attention, right?
Yep.
So extreme ownership on everything. If it didn't happen, if it didn't sell, if it didn't move, it didn't whatever, like there was some ownership that was dropped somewhere.
Yes.
Right? The third one is people over profits.
Ooh,
right.
I like
so
that
those are the 3 things. You were talking about, having non-negotiables, right? Earlier.
Yep.
And I was thinking about those 3 right at the top of my head, like, because those tell the rest of my team, right, how to build the culture, what we're about, what we're not about. So
love that, man.
Yeah. And I love those 3 books, man. They're huge. So, now you're coaching, you're mentoring people, and do you specialize just only on people who are in the service-based industries?
No, it's weird, right? Like I niched down on purpose to really get myself out there. So I started with painting contractors because I was like, well, I own painting companies, so why not? And then I opened it to contractors. So my coaching program is called Contractor Excellence, and it's open to all contractors because we're all in the same field. And then I do have other clients that are like doctors and different type of people, individuals that I work with on a one-to-one here and there, or on a group call and stuff like that. But long term, like we talked about, begin with the end in mind, I understood that I had to niche down first. Yeah. And then my long-term goal is really to just put myself out there to help anybody, right? Like that's why I got into the hypnotherapy and NLP and the neuropsychology, because I want to be able to help anyone. It doesn't matter if you're a contractor or not. It's just my niche right now. So
no, but it makes sense. I mean, it's something that you had a track record in.
Correct.
Right? Like you understand the pains, the struggles, the highs, the lows.
Yep.
So you roll right into that. And then as you progress through different, just experiences, you see different people in different verticals. I mean, you get more experience in all those areas. So it's a progression, right? Yeah. Life is a progression through and through.
100%. And there's a commonality with everyone. Yeah. So it's like, what I say a contractor and who I talk to a doctor, the mindset's still the mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
there's going to be that entrepreneur, heart right at the center of the entire thing.
100%.
And I mean, I think when you talk about, we were talking about purpose right earlier. So I figured out what my purpose was. I got super excited about a lot of things early on, right? But then I settled on empowering entrepreneurship. Yeah. And it was the same thing. I began with, okay, I wanna motivate people to launch their business. And then it's like, no, motivation kind of wears out. Okay, I want to inspire people, and then it's like, well, I mean that kind of wears out too. When I dial it in, after picking a niche and just growing into the space, I guess, was empowerment. When you empower somebody, I mean you're covering a lot of areas, right? Yep. And I specifically focused on entrepreneurship. You can, I could try and empower everybody and their mom, but I resonate with entrepreneurs. I resonate with the struggles. I resonate with the highs, the lows, the achievements, right? Yeah. And I feel like when you have that connection like you do, it's the energy is just that much more powerful.
100%. Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. What's in store for you, man? What's coming up?
Man, a lot of things coming up. I'm pretty excited. So I'm trying to get into more on the coaching space some more, of course. And it's funny, before I get to that, I wanted to mention something that you just mentioned to me that triggered me on it. Was a lot of people think coaching, guys like us that are in the coaching space, they're like, oh, well, it's about the money and this and that. Notice you said purpose, right? My businesses make me money. That's the businesses. The coaching I fulfilled. Yes, I get excited when they're like, hey, Joel, I hit my first 7 figures, man. Thank you so much. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Because I know how that helps them financially. I get more enjoyment when they tell me, hey, I stopped smoking cigarettes. I stopped drinking. I feel like a better spouse. That is what I'm like, okay, that's what's changing your business. You made these conscious decisions. That brings me more fulfillment. So like no different. I'm sure you probably get excited when someone tells you, dude, thank you so much. Like I stopped doing this. That is a product of you changing, right? And that's the product of mentorship, true mentorship. So like, even though I talk about service industry and stuff like that, I don't want people to think that that's what it's about. Yeah. It just happens to be the space you're in. But the fulfillment is those behind the scenes, those conversations that people tell you what they quit, those poor habits. Yeah. You know what I mean? It gets you so excited. So that's where, I realized that I need to start moving more in the coaching space and the mentorship space. And, we have a big event. It's going to be, I don't know when this launches, but we have a big event that's about to be talked about on Thursday. It's called Paint Con. So I have a buddy of mine who's the owner. We threw it in San Diego last year. I can't mention the location depending on when this drops yet, but he's going to drop the location soon. So hopefully I'll be speaking at that event. It'll be about 400 to 500 contractors then.
In San Diego?
I can't say the location yet. Yeah. But
I tried to trick you there for a second. I didn't fall for it.
But they'll find out this Thursday. So, but it's going to be an awesome event. That's going to happen. I'm going to throw an event myself. So I'm pushing for an event in December. I want to call it MindCon. because obviously I'm in the mindset space. So I'm trying to get some good speakers out there and help out my community and see that they can get a different perspective than the same contractors they've been listening to. So working on that. I got a chapter in a book with my
huge,
hypnotherapist.
Man.
Yeah. She, there's a bunch of my associates where when we graduated her program, she asked us all to write a chapter in her book that's coming up.
Yeah.
So we haven't been promoting that yet, but I wrote a chapter in that. It's about fear and spirituality. So it gives you a different mindset of like, hey, what does that look like? And how do you get rid of fear, but also tap into the spirituality of things? So I have a chapter in that, and then working on a book hopefully here as well. So there's a lot of things that I'm working on, forward momentum, and just trying to get out there and really just pour positivity and really just impact anyone I can in any shape or form.
Man, and you're doing it, bro. Yeah. You're doing it, brother. I mean, I'm telling you, just from the people that we have in common that we know, it's just like, I mean, it's the ripple effects. Sometimes we don't see them, right? But they're out there.
Yeah, 100%.
That's huge, man. Keep me posted on all this stuff. I'd be excited. Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
No, that's amazing. You were talking about fear and spirituality. This book right here, I talk about it all the time. It's one of my favorite books.
Yeah.
But Outwitting the Devil, it's all about faith over fear. The biggest message of that entire book is faith over fear. So I mean it's all stuff that's in alignment. Dude, great conversation. I feel like we got to do this again sometime.
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm super excited. Yeah, absolutely.
It's been great having you on the show. If somebody wants to reach out to you, maybe continue the conversation, get a hold of you, tap on the shoulder, what's the best way to do it?
Yeah, honestly, it's on my social media. I'm really active on Instagram. You won't be reached out by a bot or someone on my team. It's me. I'll send you a voice memo, things like that. I'm really active on Instagram. So Joel Mercado Official on Instagram. You can DM me. And then if you want anything, like I told you, I like to build value for you guys as well. I have a sales training, like it's a 30-minute video that I did a webinar for.
You spent over 20 years in sales, right?
Yeah, that's the funny part. It's like everyone hears me as mindset, but they don't realize I've built processes for gyms here in Arizona. I've trained multiple sales reps and put processes in place. But I give my framework of 20 years of sales that I learned, like sales 101, but I teach the psychology behind it.
Love it.
Yeah, so if your viewers want that, if you just once you find me on Instagram, you can DM me Scale or comment any of my posts Scale. We'll automatically send you a free video. It'll ask, obviously, like prompt you on certain things. But once you fill that all out, it'll send you a free video. It's 30 minutes long. It'll help you on your sales game. And then if there's anything that they want, like I literally try not to sell you. Like I legitimately love relationships. So it's like I will build a relationship with you. And if you feel like you want to work with me, awesome. But if you don't, awesome. I'm just here to keep enjoying the process and learning about people.
Put the love forward, right?
Yeah. I want to pay it forward for sure.
Amazing. We're going to have those links in the show notes, fam. So take advantage of that, right? Like reach out. You're going through and you put a lot of content out there. You're constantly posting on your channels and Instagram, more specifically, it's where I see most of you. And it's really good stuff, dude.
Thank you.
Like it is. I mean, the reels and the clips. I mean, it's motivational stuff. I mean, I love it. So,
Thank you.
Fam, make sure that you're following my boy here. And then once again, man, thank you so much. It's been great having you on the podcast.
Thank you.
Before I sign off, though, I have one question that I like to ask everybody.
Yeah.
And that's, if you were walking down the street and you ran into your 17-year-old self, what advice would you give that kid?
Like Tony Robbins says, heal the boy, you'll heal the man. And I got the chills saying that, and I kind of get emotional when I think about that because
facts.
I didn't have a male role model at that time, and I remember my friends really being around and us helping each other get through to life at that time. When I was 17, I was very lost, and I like to pierce through now. I like to just get right to it.
Yeah.
So if there's one thing I can tell anybody is I really believe in that. When you heal that boy or you heal that girl, you'll heal the man or the woman. And, you're the person you are today based off the past. And you can break those patterns when you really go ahead and audit that. So if I was 17 again, and if I can see that guy, I would tell him, heal. And it's okay. Don't look for forgiveness from anybody else. Don't do any of that. Forgive yourself and forgive everybody else. You'll heal that. And your journey will be so much more brighter. So I truly believe that.
I love that, man. Very, very powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you,
boss.
Once again, brother, Pleasure.
Yeah, likewise.
Fam, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay focused. You got this.